giving you useful and practical tips to help you make more money selling travel. This is the Art of Selling Travel Podcast, and here to guide you through it all, your host, Glenda Beagle.
Welcome back, guys. We have a fantastic episode coming up for you here. We are going to be talking with Jennifer from Riverside River Cruises. But more importantly, we really wanted to talk about what does it mean to sell a river cruise. You know, if you've never sold a river cruise before, what does that look like? What are some of the objections you're going to go through? Who is river cruising for, and all of that good sort of stuff. So without further ado, welcome, Jennifer.
Oh, hey, Glenda. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited. This is a fabulous, I love the broad topic of river cruising, because even though it feels like old hat to me and maybe you, so many people who have yet to be on their first river cruise, so many advisors who have yet to sell their first river cruise. So let's do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, and it's so funny because for myself, what I see is a lot of them are like, oh, look at that price point. And
yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I will say it over and over and over again. It is so much easier to sell luxury and higher price points than it is discounts and constantly working in the bottom of the barrel price buckets. And so to me, the value that comes with river cruise is unparalleled. Even in terms of like an all-inclusive, you can go to Mexico and quote unquote, never pay anything else, but you can come on board a river ship and experience some of the most spectacular places in the world and not spend any more.
Exactly. Yeah. And with that all-inclusive price, I mean, it's about getting real quality, like the culinary you're going to get and the drinks and quality of the wine that you're going to get included. I mean, it actually enhances the experience versus trying to bring it down to a lowest price denominator, right?
Absolutely. So now when somebody goes on a river cruise, let's kind of walk them through from the moment they arrive. What does that look like? What can they expect?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is they're going to get met at the airport, especially with Riverside. I mean, all the river cruise lines are going to either include transfers or give you the ability to add on transfers. We don't currently right now offer an air program, but you know what? Advisors are savvy and they know how to book air. So we will meet the clients at the airport, and depending on, it most likely will be a group transfer, but in some cases it might be a private transfer. But either way, someone's going to meet you there. You're tired. You've just flown across the pond. You're maybe a little nervous, right? I think a big thing is with Americans especially is we get nervous or scared when we're unfamiliar, right? And fear can kind of set in. And when you're tired, when you combine fear with tiredness, then it's a recipe for like, oh no. So we're going to take all that away. We're going to meet you at the airport and we're going to get you to the ship. And of course, depending on when you get to the ship, your room may or may not be ready, just like when you go to a hotel, right? But we'll make sure that we, can get you into the lounge, or you can get comfortable, or you can drop your bags and go off and explore. Because one tip I always like to give it, travelers, even if it's hard, even if they think they can't do it, stay up when you get to Europe. You have to stay up as much as you can, go get a nice, strong European coffee, and then, start exploring, because then you want to get on the time zone and enjoy your vacation. So they'll get met. If their room's ready, they'd be taken to their room. If not, then they'll drop their bags. They'll go off and explore. You will just already start to feel in love with the crew the minute you step on board. Well, one, you're going to love the ships. I mean, all river cruise ships are beautiful. Riverside's beautiful. But the crews are all amazing. You just step on, you just feel like I'm about to be taken care of. So that's kind of how it starts.
That's awesome. So one thing that pops up in that with Riverside in particular, because I know you can't speak to the others, but to help the travel advisor with their own anxieties and stresses, because we all know flight delays never happen.
Never. Flight changes and whatevs.
Yeah. Does Riverside monitor that so that if the client's flight is delayed, will Riverside go and get them at a different time?
Yes, absolutely. Now, in full transparency, we're still working on our process to really be on top of that. But like, case in point, I got an email from an advisor this weekend. My client, clients are delayed, this or that. I made sure to send it right to the front desk of the ship. So, that is absolutely that we will go back and get them another time. Even if we get the information like they were there picking up someone else. Oh, so-and-so and so-and-so are supposed to be on this transfer. They're not going to be now. Okay, well, we'll take these clients now and we'll come back for them. So yeah, that's absolutely part of the service.
That's awesome. And, that to me helps set a lot of creates a lot of ease for the travel advisor, because it doesn't matter where in the world we're dealing with right now. We are seeing flight delays for whatever reason. And I think that's one of the beauties of a product like a river cruise, that they're able to kind of flex with the environment around them, kind of thing.
That's actually really what I think that's almost the business that all river cruise lines are in, is just like flexibility and nimbleness and, rolling with it, right? Because it's not just, obviously COVID was an extreme case, but there's going to be low water. There's going to be high water. There's going to be lock strikes at times. There's going to be just strikes at times. There's going to be weather. The list goes on. And I think at the end of the day, if COVID hasn't taught us anything, is that control is a fallacy. Control is a fallacy. And guess what? God bless us all. We all go in wanting the perfect vacation, but we're also chasing something that's never going to happen. And if you can be open to not having the perfect vacation, you might have exactly the vacation that you came for. And I think people need to remember that. But yes, whether it's access to coaches or getting in and say, hey, we're not going to be able to sail at this moment. Oh, we're going to take you to the Mid-Tilled Palace and treat you to a nice lunch. I think that that's one of the things that river cruise lines are best at, are thriving in crisis and shining in crisis, because it's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. And actually, that brings me to a question that I've seen. I saw it just recently here in another travel advisor group, and it was a conversation about river cruise. And the advisor said, how honest, I love that question to begin with, how honest are you with your clients about the possibility of high water, low water, this, that, the other, and then the division in the conversation, because some are like, oh, you have to tell them absolutely everything before they book. And, what would you say to an advisor that's like, how much should I tell them before they book? How much, what is that line? What is the conversation?
I think there's two answers to that. One is, I think advisors need to, on any vacation, listen, things are going to happen. I'm sure you see headlines sometimes of high water, low water. Those are actually, even though they seem like they happen very often, they're actually pretty extreme cases. There was probably 2 times when I was at Avalon where the high or low water situation was so disruptive. It disrupted multiple sailings. Most of the time it's few and far between, but because, there's so much headline and media and everything around it, it creates that. So it's kind of like anything could happen on your trip. Just go into it. Know anything could happen. It literally is impossible for an advisor or us to say, yes, you could. Now we know some things like low water is a little more common on the Rhone early in the season, late in the season. So guess what? We've truncated our season to start later and sooner, just so we can try and mitigate some of that. We can't play God. We can't know for sure, but we know those kind of things, or certain stretches of the Danube or whatever. But at the end of the day, no one is in any control of this. So I think just being transparent, say things can happen, yet when things do happen, you will be communicated to in an honest and direct manner. I will also be looped in, and you will be given your options.
Right. And that's just it, and I think sometimes travel advisors, we forget that we're in sales, not that you want to be the sleazy car salesman that's like, here,
what's going to take to get you in this vacation today? Yeah, no, I know.
But at the same time too, you also don't want to build fears in your clients, because as you're saying, this is, it's not the norm for it to happen. Are there certain times a year? Absolutely. So if that's a big concern, perhaps maybe slide off of those times, which I love that you've shortened the Rhone season so that you don't have as high of a likelihood of that. And that's something, perhaps if you're comparing river cruise companies and you're like, well, these ones go later in the season. Well, guess what? Maybe somebody's opting for client satisfaction over other means and motivations.
Yeah, I will also think too. Okay, let's call an elephant in the room. How often does hurricane season happen? Every single year. How many destinations does hurricane season affect? A lot. Do you still sell clients to those properties, those destinations in hurricane season? Yeah, you do. So you already have the skills.
I love it. And I love that analogy because for years I'm like, you know what? No, I can definitely get you there. Just so you know, it's hurricane season. There's a possibility that you might get a storm. There might be excess rain. But the reality is the chances are not that high, even though some years they go through the whole alphabet of hurricanes.
Right. They go through the whole alphabet, and some of them are devastating. So we
Yep.
never want to, it's not that we're minimizing
Yep.
or saying, oh, it's no big deal. We understand that. Yet you could find a client who would eventually have a reason to never go anywhere. And now, if they come to that, you should fire that client and maybe, send them to a therapist, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be a long list of reasons why not to travel. But the real reason to travel is, come on, people, look where we have been. Look at what we're survived. And if there's no better time for human connection, and you are not going to get it staying in your bubble.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is that it's actually a fear within the travel advisor. And it's not necessarily the fear in the client. And so we need to be really careful that we're not imposing our own fears onto our
Don't
clients.
sell out of your own pocketbook. Don't sell out of your own soul.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
That's really it.
Yeah.
And it's, again, I say that with a chuckle, but it's also not, we want to validate your fears too. You guys have been through a lot. I know you have. You're scared. You did so much work and you redid. So your fears are completely valid. Yet the only, one of my favorite quotes is, feel the fear and do it anyway. You can acknowledge it. Yes, I'm scared. I'm scared to offer this new river cruise line that no one's ever heard of. I'm scared to send someone at a time when maybe low water could hit. Acknowledge it, feel it. But then when you're honest and transparent with your client, that will help you move through the fear. And then you send them, they go, they come back and say, I had a great time. And that will start to mitigate your own fear.
I love it. That's almost like one of those little mic drop. I have like goosebumps right now because I'm like, love it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Fabulous. So now when we're talking about River Cruise, so they've gotten on board, we talk about the fact that River Cruises come to the hearts of cities or they dock right there. But, that's not always
the reality. No, it's truly not. Now, you are truly a lot closer than you would probably be a lot of times coming in on an ocean ship, right? To these small towns. It is going to vary, some docking, say for instance, in Vienna, we dock right outside the Hilton Vienna, right? Great location, but you also kind of still need a little bit of a transfer into the city center, right? Which we will facilitate, but it's right there. If you're a good walker and you like it, you still could walk to the city center, but it's not going to happen in like 15 minutes. Sometimes it just, depending on the town you're going into, you might be a little further out and have to use transfers. Other ones, you're right there. I mean, when we dock in Budapest, you get off and you go to the Buda side, you go to the Pest side. You might be at varying lengths along the river there, but you are right there. So it can vary, and all of that will be known ahead of time. And then sometimes you have docking position changes, but when we get those communications, obviously we share them with advisors, we share them with clients. So, we communicate it every way we can. Obviously, we can always be better.
Absolutely. So, and again, there might be a bit of a coach transfer and other such, but we're talking not a long coach transfer. It's not.
You're not getting in. Yeah. I mean, you might take an excursion where you end up outside the city center and it might be a longer coach transfer, but to get to the city center, is not going to be a 30-minute transfer. It's just not, so, and then you're always going to be on a nice coach and, you're going to be comfortable. So, but also we have bikes on board. So, and I think most of the lines do, so if you want, get in, take a bike and go tool around Vienna. And you'll be there in a matter of minutes, right? So I think that's the key with River Cruise. There's just flexibility, and you're going to have different options. And it's kind of nice that every time you get into a new port, it's kind of like discovering like, oh, are we right here by the city? Oh, we're a little further out. Oh, but look at this beautiful spot we're in. I mean, it's like everything, like you just uncover something new every day. That's what I love about river cruising.
That's awesome. I love it. So now I know for a lot of people who are first-time river cruisers, or again, those first-time travel advisors who haven't yet sold a river cruise, what do you need to have in order, like, what do you have to wear in order to be able to go on a river cruise?
Oh, I love this question. Okay. So first, even though none of the river cruise lines are going to ask you to pack a long dress, right? Like this is not, we're not having these big formal nights. I would say it's casual for all excursions. So bring really, good shoes. Okay. You don't need a lot of shoes. In fact, leave a little space in your bag to buy a pair of shoes in Europe, but bring really good walking shoes, casual shoes. Those will be your best friend. Throw in a pair of heels if you'd like, a couple of sandals, depending on the year. Maybe wear boots over if it's, you're going to Christmas markets, so they don't take up space in your suitcase. But I would say just limit the number of shoes you bring and just make sure that they are really good and comfy for you. And then casual wear for excursions, it may depend, if you're going to go out on a biking tour or hiking, or you're just doing walking, I would say very casual. Maybe you're doing something more like a concert or something like that. Well, then you would know to dress up. But for the most part, very casual when it comes to the excursions. Breakfast and lunch. If you're about to go on an excursion, come in your casual stuff. And then just the dinner, we just ask like no jeans or shorts. Most women wear a dress or just nice slacks. Guys are in like golf shirts and slacks, or, I don't even think you need a tie on a river cruise, in my opinion. So
that's awesome. I will say when I did my river cruises, I wore jeans and t-shirts to go on my excursions, or like capris or whatever it was based on the weather. But yeah, for supper, I wore something like what I would wear to go on a date night with my husband.
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, you want to feel it. Well, and also, but it's also your vacation. You know what? If you're kind of like, me, like I'm putting on heels and dress a lot, right? Because I go to, conferences and this and that. Like if I want to get on vacation and be like, you know what, I am going to casual it up as much. No, I wouldn't go in jeans, but like, I'm coming to dinner in flats and I'm just wearing like a nice, simple pair of pants and a cute little top. And it's just, I'm not going to put too much effort into it because I am on vacation, whatever your flavor is.
Right now, insider tip, if you wear a dress that's got a stretchy waistline, that's perfect for supper because the food on river cruise ships
is the nom. Yeah. Well, at least on Riverside it is, but no, it is. It's really good on all the lines, but culinary is a big focus for us in particular, just because, especially when you're talking about the luxury traveler, right? What does the luxury traveler like? They love service. They want it personalized. They love beautiful design and space, and they love food. They love good food. And so that's, people come on a river cruise to really enjoy the delicacies, the culinary of the destination, as well as the individual lines.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that to me does set Riverside apart is that you seem to have more dining options than some of the other lines do.
Yep, we do. We do. Again, because it's just really one of the cornerstones. Because when you come into an entrenched category like we are, where all the brands are well known, well respected, especially by the North American travel advisors, it's a tough order, right? But we really want to come in and own that culinary spot. The parent company owns hotels and restaurants. These, everyone, we hadn't really say it, but we got all the 5 former Crystal ships. It's a hardware play. The software is all Riverside, right? But beautiful ships. They were built, the newer, this is the Riverside Bach right here behind me. But they're all sister ships, the Bach, the Mahler, Debussy, and Ravel. And then we have the Mozart, who is she's special in her own right. So the Mozart has the most variety of dining because we have Blue, which is a casual eatery, the aft of the ship. But all Riverside ships have multiple dining venues. We have our water side, we have our bistro. We put green eggs up on all the ships. So we'll do a barbecue lunch, weather permitting on sailings. We have 24-hour room service. Nobody else has that. So you are not going to go hungry on Riverside.
So in other words, what she's saying is every item of clothing should have stretch.
Should be stretched. Yes. What's that material? Packs well, it doesn't wrinkle. I'm telling you. I know some people love linen and they just love the way they look at it. And maybe you want that one photo of you in your favorite linen outfit. Do not bring it on a river cruise. Just don't. Yet if you do, if you want to, you could always send something away to be ironed.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so we've got lots of dining options. We've got lots of excursions and other such. With Riverside in particular, what can people do when they're sailing? What is it when they're not in port?
Well, I really appreciate you asking that question, because I think one of the things that the owners looked at when they were kind of building this brand and, starting to build the product, and we are still building as we go. Honestly, in full transparency, if any of you are listening now and you've had clients go on and, we've canceled some excursions, this and that. Yeah, we haven't had the load factors. Again, full transparency with me. So the experience, we're not exactly 100% where we want to be yet, but that's okay. I'd rather be sailing now, getting that feedback. It's going to help us be better for next year. But we did look in, the owners really did, and they felt the previous line that had owned those ships kept the clients almost off board too much. Like they're in these beautiful ships, like we want to do stuff. Well, you can take a dip in a pool. Every single Riverside ship has a pool. You can get a spa service. Every single, the Mozart has 2 spa rooms. The other ships only have 1, but you can get a spa service. You could go sit up on the sky deck, right? And you could have a drink. We have a pop-up bar on every ship. Nobody else has that. Of course, everyone allows you to go up to the sky deck and you get a drink brought to you, but there's something different about sitting at a bar with your bartender asking if you want another rosé as you're sailing through the Rhine Gorge, right? Like, this is the experience that you want. Fitness, we've got fitness rooms, so you can, go in there and do your workout. Because we have alternate dining venues, you could go up to the bistro and get yourself a delicious coffee made and just sit there. There's a lot of different like kind of nooks and crannies throughout the ship. You can just go and like read a book if you just want to have quiet time. You can sit, you probably met some new friends. You could sit somewhere and play cards. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do.
And that was one of the things when I was in Budapest a few months ago and got to tour a number of the ships is the Mozart was the one that I saw. That puppy is wide.
Yes. Yep. It's an extra wide, similar to the Ama Magna. So those are the two ships that are sailing right now that are extra wide. Now, here's one of my other favorite lines to help you understand river cruise. Everything is an exercise in choosing and letting go. If you choose this, you're unchoosing that, because the ships can only be so wide and so long in most instances. Now, the reason the Ama Magna and the Riverside Mozart can be extra wide is they also limit where they can cruise. They can't go further than Passau. They're not going to be able to get through all the normal locks that all the normal 135 more narrow bodied ships, and which the rest of us lines all sail those either 135 meter, some have 110 meter, but our 4 sister ships are 135. So you get all that extra space, shows it's amazing, but it also limits where you can cruise. So it's a trade-off.
Absolutely. So then the rest of your fleet would be the narrower body.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean, the size of a Viking longship, which, as you know, very comfortably, they're all 135 meter, and all of us ships are the same width within inches because of the locks. So no one except for the Magna and the Riverside Mozart are wider for those reasons.
Awesome. And having been in some of those locks, you don't want them any wider because
you do not. It is right there.
The brilliance of the captains.
Yes. I know, right? Can you imagine? It's like, I would totally be bumping that thing all the way down the lock. Come out totally scratched. Yeah.
I just get this image of like the bumpers on the bowling alley.
Yes, exactly. That would be exactly like me navigating a ship through a lock. I'm right where I am. I'm on the front end. Yeah. You don't want me in the wheelhouse.
That's awesome. So now if a travel advisor is looking, let's say, for example, they're looking to book a Christmas market cruise or something like that, I think,
which they should,
right? That is so the top of my list to get to one day. But if they're looking to sell that, I think we need to talk a little bit about the fact that you don't sell that necessarily at Christmas.
No.
Like, what is kind of the buying cycle? How far out are we looking to do things? Kind of what time of year should they be looking at different things?
Yeah, honestly, I think Christmas markets is probably one of the most far out booking because you're going to have limited inventory, right? There's only you only have so many days and only so many routes that you can sell where you can hit the markets you want. So honestly, if you have clients interested in Christmas time for 24, you should be selling it right now. You should have been selling it for a couple. It almost should be constantly on sale. You should constantly be wanting to get that space and get on. Now, the beauty is Riverside came late to the game. We're late to the dance this year. And even a little bit next year, we were a little late even getting our 24 product out there. But, that's just when you're a startup. It takes a while to get on the true cadence of the industry. But we have space for 23 Christmas cruises. We have space. And I know right now the clients are still in 4th of July mindset. They're out on the boat, but you know what's going to happen? Mid-August is going to hit. Kids are starting to go back to school. And then they're going to go, you know what? They start looking at you know what, wouldn't it be really nice to go do a Christmas cruise? And they're going to call you up and they're going to say, can I get on one? And previously you would have laughed. You would have said, silly client, I'm not going to be able to give you on a Christmas time cruise this year, but you can with Riverside because we do have space because we just launched much later.
And that's the beauty of, when there is a disruptor coming into the market and other such, it does kind of change things up. But it's also important to know that river cruise is not typically something you only book 2, 3, 4 months out. It does have a longer cycle as a whole.
Yep. As a whole, it does. Now you're going to get close. It's like anything, you're going to get close in bookings, but really, especially when you look at a line like ours, where we even when we're up to sailing our 5 ships in 25, well, look at our competitive set has, 15 plus ships, Viking, 50 ships, like you're going to have a lot more flexibility in sailing dates. With us, it's not going to be as much. So planning, if your clients are really like, I want to be in that suite, I really want to be on that river that time of year, that's going to necessitate you planning further out.
Absolutely. So now I have a really tricky question for you.
Ooh, good.
You obviously are helping set up your business development managers, getting them out in the market so that they can help their travel advisors and whatnot. What is the best tip for selling Riverside that you give them that they should be passing along to the travel advisor?
Yeah. First I say primarily we're owning that top spot in luxury. So it's really making it very clear that there's no gray area there. We're coming in at that luxury, we have larger average suite size. We've got larger kitchens with more chefs. So all our food is prepared on demand. The ships are beautifully designed, right? Like that is the stuff. So I think just really leading kind of with, that's our best foot forward. It's always best to lead with the things that are truly unique, right? Because the category as a whole is just great. I mean, this is one you can't, you're not seeing this now, but it's a great tool I use with advisors and encourage them to use with their clients. The ocean cruise continuum is this big, right? The difference from crystal to seaborne is immense. Well, river cruise is like this. Okay, it already goes fully upmarket. It's already premium plus in terms of a travel style. And the differences between the lines are more narrow because the reasons we talked about, limitations in ship length and width and just the amenities you could have on a river ship, because in this also it's about the destination. So I think making clients understand that they're already well up market, this and that, but there are some uniqueness, and your clients. If your clients like to stay in a Four Seasons, I don't know how you could lead with any other line but Riverside. Honestly, the king size bed is a good selling. I mean, when you tell everyone there's a king size bed in every suite, they go, oh, really? And then of course, the next question is, can they be separated? Of course they can be separated. Yes, that just goes without saying. You can always separate, but I mean, even then when separated, those twin beds are a little more spacious than they would be if you separate a queen.
Love it. So then that's another question too. Is Riverside a cruise line that you could bring children on?
Yes, it is. Now here's another, it's a debate one, right? So some people are like, I'm luxury. I don't want any children because children don't connotate luxury to me. They can be kind of loud and running around. But here's where we want to appeal to the luxury traveler whenever they want to travel. So we don't have any age limits for that reason. Granted, the average luxury traveler is probably going to come on just as a couple and not with their kids. But God, if it's Christmas markets and grandparents want to take their kids and their grandkids, we don't want to say no to a booking because a 5-year-old wants to come on. Absolutely not. We want that. And we want that luxury multi-gen client. And we believe the only way to have that is to be able to say, at least when they do want yes to children, not like we're going out saying, hey, bring your kids. And at the price point, you'd have to be really loving your child to want to bring, your child on a luxury vacation experience. But you know what? A lot of those reels, I mean, and we want to appeal younger. So we're not just talking, the grandparents, kids and kids. Like we want to appeal to that affluent family in their 40s, and it's in the middle of summer and they want to come with their kids. We've got connecting rooms. So if you've got, a 15 and a 17-year-old, you bring them on, we have connecting rooms. We have larger suites to accommodate families of 4. We don't want to say no to the luxury traveler traveling with us whenever they want. And you know what? And I do, while it doesn't always make sense, traveling with your kids is probably one of the best things you can do for them and for this globe, right? It helps them get out there sooner, connect with other cultures and people. And because they're luxury and travel more frequently, they're usually pretty savvy travelers, and it's not like we're trying to create a Disney experience here where, even though Disney does a great job, that's not what I'm saying. It's just, it's for precocious, savvy traveled kids who are all about the destination too.
Awesome. I love it. And so basically, if I'm hearing what you're saying, there's no special programming for children. There's no special menus, things like that. So right. Make sure you have that conversation with your client. But the reality is that children are different when they're in the right settings. Right. We took our kids on the American Queen. And the irony is it was because the ship sold out real fast before I could get everybody that wanted to go with us booked. And it was because there was a 70th reunion of the University of California or something like that on board. So you can imagine 70 anniversary.
Wow.
Reunion.
Wow.
So we're talking an age.
Yeah.
And I had 3 boys because we brought my nephew, and they were, I think they were like 13 to 17 at the time. They had a freaking blast everywhere we went. The seniors were like, where are those boys? They were so
totally.
Right?
You know what? You really bring up a good point. Thank you. Let's just talk about the age thing in general, where advisors are like, oh, I don't want to, everyone's going to be old. I will tell you, everyone is better for the age gaps that are on board of a river cruise. The older clients love when there's younger people on. The younger clients hear the stories from the older clients. And I'm telling you, everyone thinks that going in, but it's more the psychographics of someone who's going to do a river cruise. And that's why looking at the lines and what they offer, it's just humans end up connecting with humans, and the age just disappears once you get on ship. Now, of course, you're always going to have some people that maybe. I have been shushed in the club lounge many a times when I've been on a ship. I can be kind of loud sometimes. So, but at the end of the day, I think that most people will get on a river ship and find that they find something in common with everyone they're traveling with, regardless of the age.
And I think that's the beauty of travel as a whole. Years ago, we went to Las Vegas and we did the helicopter into the Grand Canyon, and we were in there with a couple, and then it was her parents, and her parents were from Japan and spoke no English. And when that helicopter went over the edge and flew down in, it did not matter that her mom and I spoke 2 completely different languages. We had an entire conversation of,
Right.
And it was so funny because my husband, he goes, I could hear you guys, and just the pitches and the changes. He goes, you guys had an entire conversation. I'm like, yes, we did.
Yes, we totally understood each other. Yeah, without a doubt.
So, it's having those, you're experiencing the same thing they are in so many ways. You've been to the same destination, and while you may not have done the same excursion or done the same whatever, you have that ability at supper to have conversations with people and say, what did you do? And they're like, oh, well, we did this. Oh, shoot, I'm going to need to do this cruise again, so I can go do that next time.
Well, there you go. That's kind of a great topic about, well, I've already done every river. Well, just because you've done a river before doesn't mean you've done that cruise. I mean, go on a river again, but has a few different ports. Go back on a river again, but choose different excursions. You would recreate an entirely new cruise. And I'm sorry, are we so spoiled that we just can't be possibly bothered to sail the Rhine again? Come on, people.
I actually had a client who did every river that a cruise line offered twice, because they did it going one way and they did it going the other way. And then they had to do one 3 times because they didn't quite remember it all. But now they're like, wow, what do we do? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that is a unique client. Okay, yeah, that person's like, they're gonna have to go to some other countries and stuff and do some.
Well, they've done
we're only in Europe right now.
They've even done the other ones. Like they've done Asia, they've done Russia, like they've, wow, and
how do I come back as this person? God.
They're fabulous people, but
I bet.
and so it's really funny because they're like, can you contact the river cruise company and tell them we'd like them to try this, and different things like that. Well,
I will tell you one thing that Riverside does offer is we can arrange for private tours. So we have a very nice, healthy array, or we will more so when we, for next year. Where people get the choice of included excursions that we operate in more, we do smaller groups, but still group excursions. But if you have clients that are like that, you could go ahead and book them with Riverside and just book them full board plus drink package, the premium drink package with no excursions. So we price it lower, no excursions. And then they just pay extra and they tell us, we want to do these 4 private tour across this, and we will go arrange it for them.
I love that. And another way to look at it too is if you have clients who are doing the all-inclusives to Mexico, they've repeated that however many times, to do a river cruise where you have all these things included, it doesn't stop them from hopping off the ship and going for a walk and exploring and having a very similar experience to what they would just laying on a beach. They can go off and explore and have that ability to go and see things But here is my number one reason to sell a river cruise to your clients.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear this.
You only have to unpack that bag once. Like
Yes.
Nothing drives me more crazy than packing and unpacking suitcases.
Right. And it really, because it really just starts to wear, you know what? It starts to feel like work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what happens. You start to feel like you're on a business trip, or you're just like, you know what, this is getting exhausting. But what's nice on all Riverside ships, we have self laundry. So if you need to just go down and do a load of socks and underwear, because I'm one who I only travel with carry-on. I don't care if I'm going to Europe. I don't care if I'm gone 1 week or 2 weeks. I only do carry-on. So it's nice. Of course, we still have dry cleaning or laundry. You know, if you want it done for a charge, we can pay it. But if you just want to do a little laundry on your own, self-service laundry.
Okay, I love that. The ship that we did on the Mississippi had that, and that was like the best thing ever, especially with traveling with the kids.
Yes.
It just, that's absolutely amazing. So River Cruise, I just want, for those that have never sold it before, I just want you to understand it is so much easier to sell than you're making it out in your own mind. Your clients will have so much more fun and enjoy the fact that they are not having to pay for everything. Now, a big question that I hear from a lot of first timers is, do I have to eat on board for every meal?
Yeah, you do not. No, that is your choice. I mean, obviously your price includes, all your meals. But no, you don't have to. In fact, I encourage people to get off. And it's like, listen, you're already getting, even though maybe the sticker shock, especially if they look at maybe what an ocean cruise could cost, right? But so much is included in a river cruise. Just imagine, and you make commission and all that. So you want to sell the all-inclusive, but your client's already saving money. If they really dissect it, okay, what would 3 meals a day cost in Europe and a hotel and this and that? So I think what happens is they feel like I paid for it and I must, it's a little bit of a, I paid for it, I must consume it. No, not necessarily. And if the ship is overnight in a port in a port, I encourage you to get off, unless there's something really special on the ship, to get off and do dinner locally. And we can help with those. We could either help with recommendations, we could help make reservations. So I definitely encourage that. I mean, you should do at least a couple meals off board.
Love it. And whether that's even just a snack or something when you're off walking around, like try what's local to the area. And
yeah, I remember once I got off Inspire. I swear to God, I think I went back and I tried to find this place. It was a tiny little bakery type thing. And we got this salted butter roll. I can't even talk about it. It was just like, and then we got the butter on the ship. Like we saved it and we brought it back on ship and used the ship delicious butter with this salted bakery roll. Like I still think about that roll. From Spire.
Isn't that really what travel's made of? The food that you remember years later. I can't think about Greece without like my mouth watering from the watermelon and the feta and yeah.
Oh, I have got strawberries from Antibes. Yep. Best bushel of strawberries I ever got at a market in south of France. Like I will never forget those strawberries.
Right. It's so
all
disappointing.
the strawberries are dead to me because of those strawberries.
Well, and I'm in Alberta, Canada, where we do not have fresh made here produce for so much of the year. So it's a rough road sometimes. That's why I travel so much. But
right.
Just to kind of wrap up here real quick, if somebody is like, okay, I want to get into selling river cruises, I want to do this. What does a river cruise client look like? How will they know, or what conversation should they be having to get that started?
Yes, I think definitely it's probably any clients that have done an ocean cruise to Alaska, to the Mediterranean, any kind of exotic that they're really cruising for the destination. Those are probably, tour clients as well. Any clients that you've put on a tour before, those are that's the low hanging fruit right there. Those clients are ripe for a river cruise yesterday. Okay. But then also I think it's your FIT clients who, at least on the luxury end too, your FIT clients that stay in higher premium, upper premium luxury hotels. They also do that for the destination. So all you have to do is say, hey, listen, you know how you love going to this city and that city? Imagine if you could go to multiple cities in 1 week instead of just holing up in 1 or 2 cities. I think that's would you like to stay in a beautiful hotel in multiple cities, but have it be done more efficiently? So you're not packing and unpacking, as you say. I think that's a great kind of entry into the FIT traveler. And I do think it's a great multi-gen target. I mean, I think more than ever, I think COVID has families and even extended families, like 3 families that kind of bubbled in COVID together now love to go on trips together, right? Like those are built-in small groups. You could make a great commission. You're going to get amenities. Like if you get up to 5 suites with us, 9 full paying passengers, 1 for 10, all of us lines offer it. And to manage a group of 5 suites versus 1 is really, if you got, good clients that are like, can pack their patience and be ready for the adventure, could be as easy as managing 1, you'll make a killer commission. So.
Absolutely. And I will just to touch on that a little bit, especially when you're not into like the massive size groups, those 5, 6, 10 cabins really are basically the same amount of work as 1 or 2.
Yep. And it's such a sweet spot. You're going to love the commission. But also too, I always tell this is a great, thank you. I'm glad you said that. Such a great first timer trip, because when they do say, oh, the age, this and that, I was like, well, travel with 6 or 8 people that and you've got a built-in people that if you like to stay up late at the bar, all 8 of you are going to be there staying at the bar. If the 8 of you really like active stuff or want to take bikes off every day, you've got your group to do that. But then you'll be amazed at how much you will peel off and meet others. But at least if it's your first time, come with a group of people that you love to travel with. And how are you going to have a bad time? It's literally impossible.
Right? Yeah, no, I love that. I would also, just to tag on to how do you find the client, as you were saying, it's those ones that want to see multiple cities and other such, but the moment they're like, oh, I just hate packing in and out of a hotel.
Yeah.
That's like like the bing right over top of their head. So.
Yep. And it's going to be people, for us, definitely if people are foodies or just love to get in and have, just different immersive experiences and destination. If you kind of know those are the things that they enjoy, it's more about asking them how they want to travel, right? I mean, it's like, just describe, I don't know, all of you advisors should probably, and again, believe me, I have a million things I should do. But if you had as part of your client profile, at least for your real top targets, obviously you can do, but what does the perfect vacation look like? Have them write it out. Like, tell me your perfect day on vacation. Tell me a perfect 7-day vacation, high level. It's sleeping in, it's getting up early, whatever it may be, and kind of have that, right? And then you'll be able to say, gosh, so much of what this perfect vacation actually is what a river cruise delivers on the daily.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I'm just going to give you an opportunity. If there's anything you want to talk about with Riverside or just River Cruise as a whole, by all means.
Well, I just want to say, feel the fear and do it anyway. I know we're new and I know you're still getting to discover us, uncover us, but we have amazing travel advisor rates. We have really great inaugural season pricing for your clients. So the best thing to do is get them on and get that feedback. I feel so confident in that we're going to be able to deliver for your current as well as future luxury river cruise clients, but you need to believe it. My words only go so far. We are paying really, really great commission too. So you're going to make good money. But I just encourage you, if river cruising is not a significant part of your business right now, prioritize it. We're not going to make sense for every client. So this isn't even a Riverside plug. It's really, you should be selling land, ocean cruises, and river cruises. It should be a clearly marked out, clear third category. You should put time and money against it, whether it's marketing, education, going to conferences, go to the Asta River Cruise Expo, things like that. This, make it a serious part, get your, if you're an owner manager, get key advisors on that you believe could sell it. Get yourself a couple river cruise specialists. You will set your agency apart, and what it will do to your bottom line will fuel lots of other growth for you.
Fantastic. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much. For travel advisors that are still not quite sure that they're ready to start selling river cruises yet, or they want to take it to the next level, check out artofsellingtravel.com/rivercruise. I'm going to link in there a guide with my best tips from all my years of selling river cruises.
And definitely get registered with us. It's just riverside-cruises.com/TA.
Fantastic. Perfect. And I will link all of that up in the show notes as well. If they go to that link, will they be able to find out where the business development manager for their area is?
That is a great question. You know what? Michelle has been listening I think we definitely created a flyer, whether it's posted there, but I can make it really easy for you right now. For the most part, if you're in the East, you're going to be dealing with Michelle Rodriguez Suarez. She's amazing. She's been listening on here. She's down in South Florida. If Carolyn Sakaris is our South Central. So she's in Plano, Texas, previously worked at Crystal, and she does all that kind of central states up through the Midwest. Then Kelly Brown resides here in Colorado with me, and she kind of has kind of all the states, north and south of Colorado and all the way west, which is a big territory. So we have 3 sales directors right now. So probably from just hearing me say that, you kind of probably know who you'd be working with. But yes, we could get you, what, I'll have Michelle get you the flyer, and you could attach that as well.
Awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys just brought somebody on in Canada too, didn't you?
We did. Yes. Thank you, Peter. Yes. Yeah. Peter's probably like, Jen, come on. But I've just been in the use of talking US. Peter Usanov is up in Vancouver. So Peter is going to be our guy for all of Canada. I mean, obviously, hopefully in time, we'll be able to add the support, but if you have Peter, you have enough. He is amazing. I'm sure there's advisors on right now listening or saying, Peter, because he's smart, he's kind, and he's wonderful. So
awesome. Well, thank you so very much. Again, check out artofsellingtravel.com/rivercruise to get those tips, and definitely check out the show notes. We're going to link up all of the information. And thank you so much for joining me today, Jen.
Glenda, this was a blast. I would come chat with you anytime.
Fantastic.